Welcome back to YourTown television program and our second segment today on Artivism, my monthly segment on this wonderful show where we look for the intersections of art and activism, social justice, where it inspires us to step up. And I have a guest here for our segment, a dear friend, and Gaila Cottrell. And Gaila, welcome to YourTown.
Thank you.
Gaila is a magnificent artist, free and fiery, and her art shows this. And she is a dancer and a visual artist as well. And let's just get right into it. I mean, you know,
I'm here.
Where did you get your first memories of your inspiration, and then as you developed your dance? And then taking that into your visual art as well. But maybe let's start with your dance. And if we could put up a photo of Gaila in her dance, so that you can see what this magnificent artist does. There she
Well,
is.
this magnificent artist, first of all, I love you calling me that because it kind of fills my self with that truth.
Yes.
And I would have to say, my father was a diplomat. Or the camera, you?
Yeah.
My dad was a diplomat. So I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And the first 4 years of my life, I heard samba music and had dancing all around me. Because if you know anything about the diplomatic corps, the parents go out to cocktail parties every single night. We're left with servants, and the servants put on the music and dance.
That's wonderful.
So my first 4 years were just samba music, Brazilian music, and Brazilian dance.
Wow.
So think of a baby lying there just being impressed with all this, all right?
Yes.
Started. Then my wonderful father was posted to Singapore, Malaya. So we moved to Singapore. My mom was fascinated with Indonesian, Balinese dancing. You know how they have the puppet dolls?
Yes.
She took me to so many performances of Indonesian dance and theater. And it was just fabulous. It was just, I loved it, absolutely loved it, and really got the whole flavor of the Indonesian culture. Then my father was stationed in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. All right, I was done. I learned the hula. I studied hula for 3 years, and the gourds that you shake like this, and I studied ukulele.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm about 10, maybe 11, and my dad gets posted to Venezuela. All right, we moved to Venezuela. He was acting ambassador. We lived in a massive house, 20 servants. It was, each one of us had a servant, a chauffeur, the whole thing.
My goodness.
This is the ambassadors.
Right.
It was like living the billionaire life. You know, I was chauffeured to school every day with the American flag waving on a black car. There, my parents would go out every night, and the servants, the cooks, the maids, the butlers, would go into the kitchen, huge kitchen. We'd throw on the Latin music and we'd dance. And I just have these intense memories of music and dance growing up from those 4 countries.
I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking about your dance and the music that you shared in this high diplomatic circle.
Right.
But it was bringing you together with everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was an equalizer in that regard.
Absolute equalizer. And when I look back at my childhood, I don't remember the friends, I remember the servants. Because those were the ones that I had fun with, and I stayed home at night.
Yes, they were your friends.
They were my friends.
Yes.
You know, and my mom and dad were trotting off to do their diplomatic things. So I feel like my whole childhood was very influenced by music and dance.
So let's get this right.
What?
We've got Latin,
Indonesian, Hawaiian, and then back to Latin.
influence.
Influence, exactly. So that's why I am who I am. I can't help it.
You had to be a modern dancer.
I had to be.
Yes.
So I go through all that, and then my parents retired in Carmel, and I went to UC Santa Cruz, 1970. Terrific choice. And I walked into a dance class taught by Tandy Beal, who had danced with Alwyn Nicolai in New York City. She used a lot of world dance music then. It was very popular world dance. So we danced to Balinese stuff. We danced to all different kinds of musics. And I walked into her dance class and I said, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's it. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow.
So
yes.
it was just one of those aha moments where you recognize.
It's kind of like your whole life. You were
Yeah.
doing this for really just for fun.
For fun.
And then you continued to do it for fun, but you saw, wait a minute,
Wait a
this
minute,
can
I
actually
do
be
this
an
as a
art form.
profession.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 70s were incredible at Santa Cruz, and we were talking before this a little bit about collaboration, and one of my fondest memories was the sculpture students, the art students, the poetry students, and the dance students would get together once a month in the sculpture garden in the evening in Santa Cruz.
Right.
We would dance to the poetry. We would incorporate the sculptures. The painters would set up their paintings. It was phenomenal. It was incredible.
Wow.
Norman O'Brown wrote a book called Love's Body, and he was the poet laureate of UC Santa Cruz, and he would come, and we were experimenting with drugs, which just heightened the creative thing.
Yes.
And I remember many full moon evening dancing. Many of us would get naked and dance with the sculptings.
This is wonderful.
So, but you know, it wasn't just, oh, let's take drugs and be groovy.
No.
It was enhancing our art. It was enhancing the creativity.
Yes.
And that's where I think drugs were very wonderful
Yes.
for me.
Yes, I hear
Because
you.
they did. They enhanced it.
Yes.
After Santa
Well,
Cruz.
and in a time, in a cultural place where freedom of expression was really oppressed, and so that time frame and that generation,
Right.
you had to summon your courage to do anything that was about freedom of expression,
Right.
right?
Right. No, and I think it came from, you know, a lot of Donna Reed, you know,
Yeah.
TV, Father Knows Best.
Yes.
We were all breaking out of that and going,
Yes.
no, there's so much more.
Yes.
You know, we're
Yes.
going beyond that. And it was super exciting time. I mean, incredibly exciting.
Yes.
So that kind of helped me decide, oh, okay, well, fine, I'll do this the rest of my life. And so I went to New York City, which was a big shock because NYU was down in the Bowery, and I had to walk through drug addicts line on the
Yes.
thing. It wasn't like Santa Cruz where we were all
Yes.
running around with stars in our eyes. But I got to study.
Well, there were the excesses of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but New York is tough. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
It's a tough city.
Yes, it
It's
is.
got great artists, but it also has great poverty and great tension and violence and things that I just, you know, I was off in Santa Cruz. I had my little eyes open.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got to study with some of the greatest. Martha Graham was incredible. I'm about 5'11", so I went into ballet class, and they laughed at me. They said, "Are you kidding? You're too tall. You put on pointe shoes. No guy's gonna partner you." So in my fury, I put on my black leotards, my black tights, my bare feet, pulled my hair in a bun, and I went to Martha Graham's studio, and it was like a religion. You walk in there, King. Everybody is sitting cross-legged like this, waiting for Martha Graham. Everybody the same, bun, black, just like this, reverence. And she walks in this long black gown with this huge medallion, and she wore black gloves because she had terrible arthritis, and she went like this. And the class would begin. And the leaders would lead us through the entire class because she couldn't do it, but she would just clap her hands.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. Studied with Martha Graham, studied with Merce Cunningham. John Cage at that point he would come into the class and do weird things on musical instruments. And John Cage would open up the windows and have us dancing to the traffic, the sounds of traffic in New York, and all super experimental stuff.
Yes.
Super experimental. Meredith Monk. Go.
No. So with this opening, and this is something that I really celebrate modern art for. Even over and above other more representational art, that opening does something to you as an artist, but it also is kind of a revolutionary act on the way you see the world.
Yes.
And the way you would have compassion toward the world, and the way you would stand up to injustices, because somehow it seems in order to see those things more clearly and to stand up so that you could stand up to them, you almost have to break the images down that you've been trained to know. I don't know, but how did doing modern art inform you to go beyond it or into other areas of your life. You know what I'm saying with regard to, say, social justice or so forth?
Yeah, you had mentioned social justice in some of your questions, and I thought about it, and I thought, I mean, I marched against the war in Vietnam. I marched against the invasion into Iraq. You know, I've done protests and marches in my life. But how did the art influence me? But this is the beauty of all art. It connects us to our feelings. All right? We're not these cerebral people. It connects you to your feelings. And when you have deep feelings, you can't watch people being killed. You cannot watch cruelty to animals. You cannot, because you feel it.
Yes.
If I cut off my feelings, it's fine.
Whatever.
Go to war, do the, you know, but I think artists, we carry the feelings,
Yes.
and that motivates us to.
We can no longer be bystanders.
We can't be bystanders.
Yeah.
If somebody's being cruel to somebody, I will jump right in because I feel it.
Yes.
I'm not just looking at it. And all artists share that in common, and that's what I think their beauty
Brings
is.
to mind Woody Guthrie's guitar that said, "This is an anti-fascist machine."
Yes.
Yeah. So let's segue over a little bit to your visual art, because your visual art also, in my view, shows that same openness of spirit, celebration of beauty, exploration of freedom with movement. And a lot of it kind of has been inspired by your dance as well. So when did that start taking up?
Well, so just let me follow the track. Went to NYU, got the degree, came back, taught, had a dance company, got married, moved to Europe, had kids, kept dancing, kept choreographing. You know, being married to incredible artist as Louis is, you know.
Tell the viewing audience about your husband, just briefly, to let you know that you were inspiring each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was. This is a good story for our town. I'd come back from New York, got a job at MPC. I was running the department there. Got a job at Hidden Valley, choreographing La Boheme. I didn't know anything about opera. I went out there. Will you teach these opera singers? Sure. So in walks 10 massive people, one of them being Louis. I had the blue flame. I went, and I went, holy crap, this is not my life's partner. This cannot be I recognized him as my life's partner. The minute
you saw him.
And I was shocked. I ran away from him for 3 weeks. I didn't want to get near him because I thought, my mom's going to die. She wanted a doctor, diplomat, lawyer.
Yeah.
And Louis had hair down his back. He was wearing tie-dye. He was massive, you know, outrageous opera singer. So anyway, I marry the opera singer. We've shared just a creative love of the arts.
Yes.
And it's something that
And
makes
it feeds
our marriage.
you back and forth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And recently my middle daughter was talking about her divorce after 7 years and saying, Zan, well, why, what went wrong? And she said, Mom, he didn't lift me up.
Mm-hmm.
And King, I can't even tell you, I thought, then you shouldn't be with him. If someone does not lift you up,
Yes.
you cannot be with that person.
Yes.
And the reason that Louis and I have been together 40 years is because if it has anything to do with the arts and creativity, he lifts me up.
Yes.
And I do the same for him.
Yes. And therefore you lift each other up in all areas of your life.
Well, we fight and we disagree
Yes.
and we can.
But you're lifters.
And it's not, but we're not. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, we're always getting along in love.
No.
We're not. But we lift each other up
Yeah,
in the
you
arts,
do.
in the arts especially.
Yes.
You know.
So you're painting.
So my painting. Okay. So all this stuff going on, blah 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 blah. I'm dancing. We're in Europe. We moved back to LA. I'm dancing, and all of a sudden, bam! I got this terrible back spasm. Couldn't move for a week. 3 weeks later, bam! Back spasm. Couldn't move. My back just completely gave out. I think it's all the modern dance, rolling around on the floor, doing crazy stuff on concrete. So I was sitting in the living room. I'll never forget the moment. And I thought, if I can't dance and choreograph, my God, what am I going to do? My sister had died. My older sister, who was a painter, had died 3 years earlier. Her voice came right into my head, and it said, paint. And I thought, I can paint. Started taking painting classes. In the past 10 years, I've just been painting, 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 painting.
That's magnificent.
Isn't that fun?
Yes.
And I started taking yoga, so my back's getting better, so I'm dancing 3 times a week too.
Well, and you have a new studio that's coming up.
You mean my art
That's
studio?
actually going up, an art
Oh my
studio.
God. Well, this is the greatest story ever. My mom gets sick, she's dying, my sister and her husband move up, they move into the house. Now we're 4 artists living in this house, just inspiring each other all the time. 4 of us, just going. And Lauren and I get together, and Lauren, you see, our older sister was a painter, and she was really mean, and she never let us paint, ever.
Yikes.
That was her thing. We had to have our own thing.
Okay.
Lauren became a fabulous jeweler. She made
Yeah.
these earrings, she made these necklaces. She's just an exquisite jeweler, but she's also a writer. She's also a painter. My mother really emphasized the arts and philosophy. Those were the 2
Yes.
things that were high priority in
Yes.
our life. So anyway, Lauren's living with me, and we just needed a studio to paint in. We were painting all over the patio and covering it with paint, and it was a mess. And this is an example of Louis. Lauren, we made all this crazy painting, and Lauren said,
Your husband, yeah.
Lauren said, "What's Louis going to say when he gets home?" Because it was such a mess. And I said, "Let's see, let's wait and see." And Louis walks in. I mean, the patio was just trashed. And Lauren said, "Hi, Louis." And he goes, "Oh my God, this is fantastic. We've got to make garden art." And he took the paintings and put them all over the garden, and now we have garden art.
Wow.
That's lifting your partner
That's
up.
lifting your partner
That's
up.
not saying, "What the heck are you doing? You're messing
No.
up this thing."
No.
he just-
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So Lauren and I decided we need an art studio. So
Yes.
her husband Chuck is an incredible photographer, producer, film director, and he builds to top it off. And so he built us an art studio.
That is magnificent. And you're so here we go into the future with this space.
Exactly.
Yes. And I want to ask you, and we're running out of time, and but unfortunately, but we're just getting started. So would you come back on the show?
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's magnificent, because I want you to come back and talk to folks about whatever it is that doesn't lift them up, that blocks them, how they step through that and actually live a creative life. And you've done that by just sharing your stories, but I want to get you back on to talk about that, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to end this with a poem that I wrote after meeting Gaila and her whole brood, her family, her husband, friends, which became fast friends of mine, and is one reason I'm right here at YourTown, because those friends that I met that night at your house continue to be my friends, because they're all artists of some kind, writers,
Right.
visual artists, dancers, singers, musicians. And so we noticed that we had this, I'm a Leo and you're an Aries, and So I went home and I wrote this poem, folks, and here it is. And let's put the camera on Gaila as I read it, and just see what happens in her chair. She would stand up, but our cameras are fixed, so it's going to be right like that. This is called Aries with Leo on the Veranda. 2 blue flames streaked across the room, and there we were, our pilot lights suddenly torches. The lion felt the gypsy in her green eyes transfer into his gonads, and his mane combusted into a circle of fire. The dragon hunched his spine into a U and left the inferno, heading back to hell. As the walls fell down, air rushed in, and white-hot tongues flew upwards to lick the moon. God breathed to set the spirals in such friction, and their joy of womb and phallus created heat. The underworld has been frozen all along, and ghouls of myth inevitably go there to become fossils. Thank you all for being part of this segment, Gaila. Thank you. And that's YourTown Segment 2, Interpretive Dance and Poetry. Thank you all very much.